Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Taping this early Friday morning, the 25th. Had to check in with you all. And generally, just in case you try and check for my videos, I tend to release on midweek on Wednesdays, Fridays going into the weekend, and then Sundays going into the following week. So I try to get up at least 3 posts a week for, especially for the political readings. All right. Woo-wee, did we have ourselves a time yesterday with the release of, learning about that South Park situation? Wow, you all, like, that was a jaw dropper, right? That was, followed by some really deep belly laughs for entertainment purposes only, right? Woo! All right, and we know that the South Park guys, were the Trey Parker and Matt Stone have come out subsequently and issued, saying we're terribly sorry. We know. We know. So interesting. Can you imagine like that? Ooh, Orange. Orangestein, I'll call him today. Orangestein was just beyond. Like, he can't get to Scotland fast enough. And I'm going to take a quick look at that as well. I've had several of you reach out to me and say, what's up with that? Like, is he going to be met with protests in Scotland, etc.? We'll take a quick peek at that as well. But had to get on first thing and acknowledge that. And by the way, if you're not familiar with me, you just landed on the channel. I'm a Pepe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I'm a tarot reader, clearly. And I'm also a former newspaper journalist. So that's sort of my approach to my readings is I try to, stay grounded in the facts. And I'm also an initiated priestess in both Wiccan and African traditions. So got a little bit on my plate and my experience, and I try to use all that to give you good content. All right, so having said, like, just hold on to the idea. And Spirit has said for the longest time, I've gotten it, so many other readers and psychics have gotten this as well, that really what's going to turn the tables in so much of what we're going through, you all, is coming from the outside. For so many months now, we've been terribly disappointed in Congress and DC, and like, who's going to do what and how could you let it get this far? And all of that will get dealt with in time. Those there are so many people we see them resigning, GOP leaders resigning, etc. But the point is, Spirit said for a long time, what really shifts the tide will be from people, not politicians. And so that's something I think for us to hold on to and be aware of as we continue to move forward in this incredible time and challenging time in our history. Another thing, kind of humorous, wanted to share with you is, I don't know if you heard about it. I did not know that this existed. Is the White House has put out basically a plea for the public, the US of A citizens, to donate, to contribute to paying off the U.S. debt, right? The national debt, which is now what, $36 trillion. And so they're starting to amp up their ads that you can Venmo. You can go to pay.gov and Venmo a donation or whatever to help pay off this debt. I thought, not only, who is planning to do that when you've just approved, among other things, not even dealing with the cuts to Medicaid, healthcare, etc., food, SNAP programs, all of it, education, all of it. Who's going to do that when in the face of that, you just said $170 billion, to deal with this ICE situation? Like, who's going to go, oh yeah, let me grab let me go log on to my Venmo account and send some money over right now. But what I did not know, you all, this has been existing since the 90s, the ability to pay. Clearly not with Venmo, but that I read somewhere they have already received, what was it, something like $63 million to from people who have, over the years since the 90s, $63 million to help pay off the debt. So some people tend to do this. Not anybody I know. And it didn't come from me, I promise you that. All right, you all, let's get into a couple of other things. One other real quick. Again, this is about keep the faith, stay strong. This is tough, we get it. indictments that they are trying to bring in LA against the protesters who, presented this clear and present danger that warranted the Marines and the National Guard, right? They can't. People are refusing to bring the indictments. The Blondie is in the DOJ is taking more and more losses because they have not been able to be successful in getting indictments. The attorneys in LA. They're looking at the charges and they're like, this is baseless. There's not enough here to warrant an indictment. So from what I understand, as of now, they've tried to issue 38 indictments. They've tried to get 38 people indicted based on their participation in the LA protests. And as of now, only 7 of them has there been enough evidence or whatever requirements to warrant actually proceeding with that. So LA continues to resist. All right. Scotland trip for Orangestein. Today we will call him Orangestein. All right. Scotland trip, Spirit, and I will be using the Kipperish deck. Excuse me, deck. I don't know what kind of slip that was. Maybe I'm still on that South Park show. But the Kipper deck, I have a lot of readers, and I'm glad that you're here with me who watch the channel and interested in the decks. All right, Spirit. Orangestein's visit to Scotland. How will that go? Will it be met with major protests? Will there be something that happens as a result of this trip for him? Orangestein's visit to Scotland. Orangestein's visit to Scotland. Will there be something that comes out of that further decimates him? We have protection at the bottom of the deck after I shuffled. So, and I get that. I read that already in preparation for that and perhaps in anticipation of protests that they've closed off streets, that security is 10 times what it would normally be for any visiting dignitary. Tough time saying that word, but you get it. Okay, so there's a lot of protection. And his office, Orangestein's office said, we have to have that. So again, I've already read there are all whole sections of the areas, I guess, connected to his golf courses. There are 2 golf courses that he's supposed to be visiting. And I also understand, so Keir Starmer is supposed to be there as well with him. How could he not? But this is more of a marketing visit I'm getting versus any other kind of, politically thing. Ice King. There we go. It's a chance for him. Ice King being protected. This is a photo op. This is marketing. This is thank you, Spirit. This is him making economic promises in the face of tariffs. Because, the UK apparently is one of the few places that they've arranged a deal on tariffs. So this is a matter of saying we want to continue to have economic ties, but those ties, of course, are linked to his profitability, Orangestein's profitability with the golf courses. We have a star seed that shows up. That's hope. That's him selling to the people of Scotland. I'm still a good guy. I'm doing what I can to increase your economy, to make sure that people have jobs, of course, related to my golf courses. But that's, putting a real, fancy little gloss around this visit. But I'm not getting anything. Spirit, will there be sizable protests? Something where resistance is shown, real love. I'm not getting that, you all. And of course, that's not literal. That's symbolic. This is going to be him making nice. Really, this is going to be Orangestein making nice and saying, hello, I'm here. you know, I'm doing what I can to make sure that your economy continues to tick right along. Look at my lovely properties, my golf courses. You know, we want to continue to make sure that they contribute to your jobs, your economy, and we have boss and ascending that come up, growing opportunities for people there. This is a marketing trip. Point blank period. This is a marketing trip. And we also know that in the interim, we've got Don Jr., who's been touting. He at NASDAQ or somewhere in the stock market, rang the bell with a gun company. His, you know, the money's been coming in between crypto, et cetera, et cetera. So this is really about building their fortunes. And that's what this trip is related to. I am not seeing, I'm going to go to tarot real quick, but I'm not seeing, and I don't have a name for this deck. It was gifted to me literally in a bag. So I'm sorry about that. Will there be a ruckus, protest, something where resistance, where he will be embarrassed by the resistance that's shown during his trip to Scotland? Three of Wands. We will see them, but they won't be close enough. I'm just getting a sense that they built such a hedge around him with that protection that we saw earlier, that it's not like somebody's going to get close enough to toss a tomato. And Spirit is giving me my ace. If you know, if you're with me on the channel, when I get my aces, that's how my spirit guides give me, yes, I'm on track with that. So we may see some coverage of protests and people who have, you know, say what they're going to say about him. But this trip he's so insulated, and they prepared everything to the letter to make sure that he's insulated, because at the heart of this, at the root of this, even from Starmer's perspective and relations between the US and the UK, this is about keeping the money rolling and helping their economy. Really helping his economy first and foremost, right? Ornstein, because he's not going to do any, you know, self-interest always, but also packaging it as spurring economic growth and continued economic relations between the two countries. That's what's happening with that. All right. Let's get to the Epstein birthday book. It's coming out, right? It's coming out. Point blank. There are multiple copies of it. We know that. And we also understand now that the Epstein estate, it is not just in the possession of the government, of the Justice Department, that the Epstein estate has the book, and perhaps multiple copies of the book. And we're hearing now that there's a possibility that Ro Khanna, and on the Democratic side, and Thomas Massie on the Republican side have joined forces, bipartisan effort to get this information. And we're hearing that they may not even have to subpoena the Epstein estate to get that book, the birthday book. That they may, in fact, just be able to make a simple request and get the book. So they can go around the DOJ. Spirit, will the birthday book, Epstein's birthday book, will that be made public soon? Like within the coming month or 2 months? I'm already hearing like by September at the latest, but I feel like it could be way sooner. Like this, the momentum with this is just so incredible. Nice guy. That's somebody either the attorney for the Epstein estate, or somebody who comes forward and says, I'm more than happy to help in this effort. And here you go. You know, you don't have, perhaps, is that true then, that they don't have to subpoena it? And here comes that boss card again. Is that the personal representative of the estate, of Epstein's estate? One of his relatives who comes across North Node and South Node, wanting to correct the karma and move forward. Wanting to not correct, a spirit is saying don't go that far. Not so much correct Epstein's karma. He did what he did, and he's no longer here. But there's With the North Node, you're moving forward to your life purpose, right? The South Node is what you've already done, what's behind you, and very often referred to as karma. I'm going to switch to tarot. So there's somebody in his estate, in Epstein's estate, who has no issues with doing this. And it could even be, thank you, Spirit, because karmically, I'm not going to go too far and say they feel awful to know that their relative, was a monster for entertainment purposes only. But that they have some real regret and feelings about it, and to the extent that releasing this birthday book could be an effort on behalf of the family, because you remember, thank you, Spirit, they are living under that shadow, and they, even those in Epstein's family who had nothing to do with this, who but by virtue of being blood, being part of his bloodline, are just like, ugh, right? They've lived through some personal hell, is what I'm getting. Spirit, will they turn over that book voluntarily, sooner rather than later? The Four of Pentacles, a little bit of a struggle, because they're probably getting pushback as well from the DOJ, perhaps even a little, this is attorneys saying, let's make sure that when we do this, we don't do it in a way that we could then suffer repercussions from the Department of Justice. Because we know, they go on their attack. And the Lovers, decision that will be made in the best interest of the family. They're going to negotiate. Will they release it? This is negotiations, because they want to make sure that legally they're protected. And there's the Empress. Yes. They're frightened a little bit of repercussions from Blondie and the DOJ, but the Empress is about production. It is about producing. It is growth. It is what is fertile. It is what is given birth to. We will see it. They are going to release that. And again, Spirit gives me an Ace of Cups to confirm. We're going to get that. So regardless of all of these stalling tactics from Blondie and company, we're going to get that book. And I think it's going to come, at this point, it's looking like it's going to come directly from the estate. And it also looks like the estate is willing to cooperate without a subpoena, as we've seen some reports saying that could be the case. But that Four of Pentacles, holding on a little bit, assessing, here's what we have and how we need to use it. They just need to have assurances that they cannot be harmed in some way by releasing this book. When will we see it? That's what I want to ask as well. Will we get it during the month of August? Will that birthday book be made public during the month of August? Will the book be made public during the month of August? The Star. It looks like a yes to me. And that is ruled by Aquarius on behalf of the people. It is also ruled by the planet Aquarius, ruled by the Uranus. Change and shifts, and boom, here it is. Shine a light on it, right? We're going to see it. We're going to see it, and it looks like we're going to see it in the month of August. All right. That said, last thing I wanted to look at today, we know that Todd Blanche went and had his 6 hour, we're told, 6 hours that he sat with Ghislaine Maxwell. Please do not, by the way, let me just throw this in there. I do the best job that I can on here, but people get really, really, tight around pronunciations. It is a different name. I have seen in all the shows and reporters, etc., that attorneys, her name has been pronounced 16 different ways plus one, right? So if I am not enunciating please cut me some slack on that, all right? We know who we're talking about. Let's focus on the content. I really appreciate that, although I am trying. All right, so Ghislaine, that's how Lawrence McDonald says it, and I was watching him last night. So what he had on his show last night on MSNBC. Lawrence McDonald said, O'Donnell, I'm sorry, said, showed a clip of, so apparently Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, what's his name, David O. Marcus, are buds, like best bros. Like, he came up with some video, O'Donnell did, showing that Todd Blanche was on there like, thank you, my friend, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what it was in relation to, but the two of them are like serious bros, all right? So that in and of itself is very, very interesting. But what I want to look at is 6 hours he sat with her. He's supposed to be going back and talking to her today. Todd Blanche going back to talk to Maxwell today. But there were photographs of when she left the meeting yesterday, when Maxwell left and went back to prison. She was carrying a box. And people are like, what the heck is in the box? What is that all about? The box. All right? Let's take a look at that. What was in that box, Spirit? What was in that box? Why was she given a box? Why was she even allowed and permitted to take a box back in? Two of Cups. I need something more because I see that a couple of different ways. With the King of Swords. Okay, so this is part of the deal making because Spirit said in my last reading, and other readers have said it as well, and you all know to a certain extent this is like common sense, writing on the wall. This is all about cutting a deal with her. So that's the Two of Cups. Here's cutting the deal. This is so this was Blanche giving her the box. I'm getting you all. I'm going to go to Kipper as well. I'm getting that box contained something, either if she had given previous deposition testimony during her trial, or even during Epstein's trial, Jeffrey Epstein's trial. But this was something around rehearsing her, giving her access to what she previously said, what is previously on the record around her, sworn testimony, because they want to make sure she doesn't perjure herself. That's what I just heard. Blanche and her attorney, Marcus, and remember the relationship between the two of them, right? They're bros. That they want to make sure that what she gives, that's supposedly going to go into a report and get released whenever from the DOJ as further proof of, why this story needs to go away. They want to make sure that it doesn't conflict, and there's manifestation. Exactly. There's they gave her a box of materials to review, you all, because when he goes back today and everything that she says, if it's going to be released, and if what she says, moving on, the point is to move on from what this is, and for her to move on. That's her impetus for making the deal. We know that she's trying to get an appeal of her case, right? And at the very least, Spirit has said in my prior reading that the goal will be, they might not just swing the doors open and say, okay, goodbye, go find yourself another island or something to be on. But that instead of a 20-year sentence, it could be majorly reduced or whatever. The bottom line is they're trying to work out a deal so that she can move on. They can move on and say, we went, we got we got her statement, we got who knows better than she does, like the whole job that they're going to do with that. But this manifestation, you all, is solid evidence, or this solid report that they're going to compile. Blanche's office is going to compile. It's going to have to go to Congress. Congress has said when they come back in September that there's a real possibility that she will get subpoenaed to testify before Congress. So this is all about rehearsing her so that she can seem viable, that she's not contradicting. Either she didn't perjure herself during her trial or during the Epstein trial. And there's the priestess that comes, because she was that chick. She did this. She went and recruited all of those girls for entertainment purposes only. And they want to they want to bring her forward now as the priestess of his secrets, but only the best secrets, and the secrets that single, sexy, and successful. Exactly. These are the girls. This is her energy going into this. She is relishing to some extent. Oh, wow, this is twisted. And I just got like a chill around my back when I said she's relishing this opportunity, you all, to come across. There's no regret. Deep down in her soul and there's no regret. She's relishing her opportunity to be seen and heard as this powerful force behind him, and to use that to aid Ornstein. She's willing to use that to aid Ornstein. But because she's being touted as the source of what can finally put all this to bed, she is loving it. Dang. And I just pulled the Lovers. I'm done, you all. Like, twisted. But bottom line, what was in the box? The box was documents, because they want to make sure that what she says at this time, that it doesn't in any way seriously conflict with what's already on the record, because all of that's going to get combined. A report is going to go to Congress, and Congress has said that they do intend to subpoena her. I get the sense that is the case because, remember, she is still pushing for an appeal. All right, you all. That's what I got for the day. I want to keep this, somewhat short, and be safe out there, right? Remember, I always close my videos with keep your chin up. There are so many reasons to do that. Remembering as well, Spirit's message. This changes. This is power to the people time. This is Pluto in Aquarius time. This is, yes, we need, government is going to do its thing. We're going to have changing leadership. We'll get more into that. We're talking about the midterms, 2028. We're also hearing that this will not be a normal election cycle, you all. The idea that typically in a presidential election, things ramp up the year before. So typically we would have been 2027 before things really get going. You're going to see things getting going regarding the 2028 presidential race in 2026. Spirit is already being really, really clear about that. The timing and how long it's going to take to really get people back, regain a lot of the voters that the Democratic Party lost, to continue to revamp and refurbish and shift the image of the Democratic Party. Like, who are you really anymore? Because what happened can't happen again. All of that. We'll be looking at that. But we've been talking a lot about timelines shifting. And some of the timelines that that people have wanted to see speed up to get this done have seemed to drag on forever. But timelines are in fact shifting. All right. So chin up. Know who you are in this moment in time. Know who you are and keep your faith strong, right? Shoulders back. Especially Leo season, I was drawn to show up in this shine. I was like, this is a little bright this morning. Like, this is something I'd wear out, to dinner at night, right? And I'm taping this, 9 o'clock in the morning. They were like, don't care. Put it on. But, the idea, shine bright, right? New moon in Leo that we're undergoing right now. Leo season. Ruled by the sun, shine bright right now. Shoulders up, shoulders back, chin up, and by all means, stay connected to your heart. Take deep breaths. Keep your nervous system calm. All right? And I'll talk to you real, real soon. I appreciate you. Bye.